Hi guys.
Hello everyone.
Today is construction day 24 and it's going to be an interesting update. So I'm going to go ahead and start the update by just doing a little walk and talk. So you guys know that we've made some changes to our design. We think for the better. What we've done is, if you guys watch all the videos, we made the window in the bedroom, master bedroom bigger, and the two spare rooms we moved the windows from the corner of the room to the center, and also made those bigger. So there's a couple examples where we tweaked the blueprints, and we think that's going to make the house even nicer, better. But today we had our first actual construction error. So I wanted to share that with you. So I guess my inner New Yorker came out today. It's been suppressed for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 months now. I've been in the Philippines. But yeah, I had to basically stop construction on the wall and get the contractor up here. We had an error, and it needed to be addressed. So I'm going to do my best to shoot the fix, which is basically do a full replacement of a column. But I'll just kind of explain what happened. The fence itself has columns that go down every 3 meters. And the column reveal, so where the 3-inch hollow block goes down the length of the property, it's supposed to split that column 50-50. So it's about 2 inches of reveal on the inside and about a 2-inch reveal on the outside. And the reason for that is it just looks good. You paint those columns typically a different color, and then the fence itself, the hollow block, usually a second color, and it just looks pleasing to the eye. So a couple of days ago, and Wilma and I are up here every day, and that's another point. If you're going to build a home, I guess anywhere, but especially here in the Philippines, try to be on the work site as much as you can. Now, Wilma and I, as you guys know, we're dedicating ourselves to be here every day. So we had 2 days of land clearing. We were here the whole day. In fact, Wilma and I did 1/3 of the land clearing, and we had 2 guys do the other 2/3. We had 7 days of excavation. I was here for all 7 days, Wilma and I, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So 7 o'clock to me means 10 minutes to 7, and 6 o'clock means 6:10 p.m. So it was a long week, 7 days, but we got through it. And then we were here at day 24 of construction, and Wilma and I have been here every single day. Doesn't matter if it's raining, we're here. Now, the construction here starts at 8 a.m. and stops at 5 p.m. And I'll be honest with you, as we're getting further along the project, we're not here 8 to 5. We typically are rolling in about 9 a.m. And we've been leaving about 4, sometimes 3:30, because a lot of the big ticket items are already started. And the fact that they've already started, how could you make a mistake? You've already started. So we feel pretty confident to duck out a little earlier, as the weeks progress. So yesterday, they started the wall on the opposite side of the property. And we saw that the reveal was wrong. They have the column set up, they did the footings, and they're starting to lay the block, and the block is flush to the inside of the column, which means on the side that we'd be seeing, there was no reveal. So got the foreman, stopped the project, said, this is incorrect. And I told them not to pour any more cement, not to lay any more hollow block until I got a chance to talk to the owner, the contractor, to get that squared away, because the hollow block was already laid, and really the only thing you can do is either A, remove all that hollow block and start over, or fix the column, whatever would be easier. So we left it at that, and then came back up first thing this morning. Did reach out to the contractor and said, hey, meet me up there in the morning, we'll take a look. I explained the issue in a text message, and he said, yeah, no problem, I'll meet you up there. So we came up this morning, and guess what? More hollow block was laid, and now the problem expanded, because now it wasn't just one section, it was 3 sections. So you know, talked to the contractor and said, you know, this is not the way it should be. It was done incorrectly, and you know, basically at your expense, I need it fixed. So we have 2 options: just knock down the hollow block, start over, or dig out the footing of the column and move it. So they decided to dig out the footing and move the column. And then we're only talking about 3 inches. You could have bent the column, and that was suggested and actually done, not by my direction, but they actually tried to bend the column that was already sunk into the concrete, and to me it looked like it would weaken that column. So I'm not a construction guy, but again, I met with the contractor this morning and said, you know, to me that's unacceptable. So 2 choices: remove the column and redo it, or knock down the wall and redo the hollow blocks. So since the column rebar was bent in a way of trying to fix it, so it was kind of like just a quick patchwork fix, he said, no, I want to replace that. So today's update, or part of today's update, is going to be showing them digging out that footing and putting in a new column, and then repouring the concrete correctly. And then a couple other columns, they're going to have to redowel them, so I'll show you that, where they're going to drill in and place additional rebar for additional support down into that concrete, and then put new stirrups around it to strengthen the other 2 columns that they were messing around with yesterday. So I guess the lesson is, do your best to be on site as much as possible. Know as much about construction as you can, which I don't know much, but I've done a lot of research, a lot of watching YouTube videos, watching a lot of guys here in the Philippines that built homes from scratch and have a ton of content, just like our content, and just try to learn. I guess you call it YouTube University. That's the term I've heard before. And just try to educate yourself as much as you can, because no one's going to look out for your retirement dollars more than yourself. No one's going to look out for the quality of work than yourself. So that's my tip of the day, and the update will incorporate the fix. I'll try to do my best to show to you guys what they're going to do to fix it. All right, so talk to you guys later. So here is the beginning of the fix. I'm going to do my best to explain it. I think I'm going to have to do this in several stages. So if you can see this column that they're tearing out, and see how it's been bent. See the rebar is bent. That was their fix, the temporary fix. So now we're going to do our best to try to show the actual fix itself. So I'm going to have to do this in stages, I think, because it's going to take several hours to do this. But this is the beginning stages of taking things apart. All right, so here's another column. You can see we went ahead and cut it. So it was like this, and we went ahead and cut it because we're not going to use this column. We're going to dig it out. So they're starting to chip away at the hollow block to make room. And again, I'm going to have to do this in stages, but they're going to dig this out. Then they're going to do a new footing. So that's that meter by meter with the concrete buried in rebar, and then a new column is going to go in, and then, as you know, it gets tied with wire, so the column will be tied to the footing rebar, and then they're going to re-pour the cement this afternoon. So again, I'm going to have to do this in stages for you guys. Okay, so here's another angle. So this is from the opposite side. So you can see when they try to do that quick fix with pushing, or actually they used a sledgehammer to bend the column this way. So this is facing in. You can see that the rebar is bent. It buckled. So that's what the replacement is. So basically what they did was they just filled this in with concrete last night. So once they bent it, they fill in with the concrete. But I wasn't born yesterday, so I had my guy chip this out this morning. You can see all the residue of the chips, and I chipped it out to discover that the fix was to actually bend the rebar. So again, this is all going to be removed and re-poured a new footing. All right, we have a pool update, so you can see that the pool is starting to take shape. So again, it's 4.5 meters by 10 meters. They did 5 courses today, so 5 rows of hollow block high, and then they stopped for the day because they're going to let that dry overnight. And what you can also see is they are, let me get a little closer. See the rebar? That's about 10 inches, maybe that's 12 inches. So all the way around, they have a lot of rebar, about 10 to 12 inches apart. And then what I also noticed, that they're really filling the hollows of the hollow block. So the 3 chambers, and then that 4th chamber in between the 2 hollow blocks. I watched them all morning, and they're really spending a lot of time making sure that it's completely full. And then here's an example of the wire they use to tie the rebar together as it extends up. So it's going to be a real strong wall. I did ask the question, how come the rebar is so close together? And their answer was, with all the water in here, there's a lot of pressure pushing outwards. So they want to make sure that the walls of the pool are very strong. So that made sense to me. So again, it's taking shape. There's a lot of fill still here in the middle. This will be the shallow end, so this will be 3 foot deep, and then it'll gradually go down to 6 foot deep. And then our water feature / bar / water fountain will be at the very end, basically where the blue pipe is going up. So let me take a step back. A lot of fill, a lot of backfill, and I think the majority of these rocks are going to go down in the void, if you will, because that'll help strengthen the back side of the wall as well. And then we'll put a lot of dirt and then pack that down, kind of similar to what they started here. But they did 5 courses today, and they stopped for the day, and then they're going to let that dry, and then they'll resume tomorrow. All right, I want to give you guys an update on all this dirt. If you guys recall, here in the middle of the house, there was a lot of dirt here that they were going to use for fill. So this is John. John is a laborer here, and what he's doing is the old-fashioned way, scooping the dirt, and he put a bunch back to start leveling out the dirty kitchen area. But I want to show you the front of the house. With all the videos, you probably remember there was a lot of backfill needed in the front of the house. So just a couple days ago, there was I guess close to almost a meter deep here, all the way across. So what John is doing is taking these rocks And he started by placing rocks all at the base of the house here. Packed them in nice and tight all the way across. And then now, basically one wheelbarrow at a time, build himself a little ramp. And he's starting to fill this in. Because again, this will be up level with the floor of the house. Come out 2 meters and then a couple steps down to more concrete. So this all needed to be backfilled in. So he's working on that today. I want to show that to you guys. I was asked in an email, and the question was, can you use lintels, or the locals call it lintos, but it looks like it's spelled lintels. Can you use them over larger spans, more than just doorways? And the answer is no. My understanding is that if you have an opening like this, now this is the opening going from the main living area to that little hallway that's going to lead you to the 2 spare bedrooms and the spare bathroom. So if you're going to have an opening like this, and this opening has got to be about 3 meters, you got to have a beam. You just can't have a few strands of rebar like you can over a doorway, a much smaller distance. You can get away with just having rebar going across and then cement, and then they use that cocoa lumber to hold it up. So that's okay for smaller spans. But anything large like this, and I'll just go back, like this, you have to have a beam. So I guess in the US they call it a header beam, that's what I call it. So you have the column, then the beam that's tied in with rebar, and then another column. So the answer to that email is, if you're going to have a span like this, you need to have your contractor form up a beam to handle the weight of the hollow block that's above. So you can see they're still going to pour the rest of the column to go up to meet the height of the wall, which is 12 foot. But this opening here calls for a beam. And that's what's going to repeat over here. This is all going to be very large beams going across from column to column. You just can't get away with just having, I guess the term lintel, over a large span. It's just not sound building. So I hope I answered your question, that if you have an opening like this, you need to have a formed up beam. All right, I have Willie and Daniel here, and what they're doing is doing the form work for all the beams. It's a big job. So they have their scaffolding, they're working on forming up the beams that'll attach to all the columns. So you can see there's the extension of the column going up. The rebar is tied to the beam going horizontal, and they have the whole house to do. So there's another example of a partial form. So that's going to take several days, but they're forming it up and nailing it in place, and then that'll all be filled with concrete. And like I said yesterday, that is going to form the structural integrity of the house. So all the weight of the roof will be held by these columns and beams, will support the roof. So lots of work there. And then I also mentioned that John was working on the back also with some of the dirt. So he's starting to put some dirt back here, and eventually that'll all be flattened out. There's the boss. So it's 5 p.m. and an executive decision was made by a non-executive not to fix this today. And when I inquired why, they said they'll do it tomorrow. So guess what time this executive will be at work tomorrow? Answer, 10 minutes to 8.